I'm definitely excited for this game. It's going to be really cool. FNATIC in the first game. This is like, we're ramping up this tournament. It's been such an awesome tournament so far, and FNATIC looked dominant in that first game.
Yes, it did.
TPA, I think, is a little bit stronger on that blue side because they get the first pick. It means that they can potentially, get one of those champions open on toys that, can hopefully help them in that game. But I would expect to look for a slower game from TPA, try and not take too many risks, and prevent FNATIC from snowballing at all. So they'll play a defensive game, a reactionary game, and try and beat FNATIC in the long game.
Yep, and we've seen TPA how effective they can be in that passive game. Actually, in the Curse and A match, actually really beat them at their own game, and it worked out very well. And also, before we get into this, if there are any TSM fans out there, I think there are a few. Just to remind you guys, there's actually a fan meetup actually going over at the Origin PC booth over in the Nolita Hall, the sponsor area. So if you want something signed for maybe a pat on the back from Dyrus, you may want to head on over there.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be cool, guys. So make sure you check that out. But we'll see. We're very close to getting this game. Remember, you can vote down below. It's actually on the IGN stream. If you go to ign.com/IPL, vote and change your vote throughout the game. We'd like to see. It's kind of fun to see, how the vote goes. You get to a sense of how you feel about the game, and we actually, if enough people are voting and we see enough swing throughout the game, we actually could do some cool stuff with that, where we see charts of how the teams are doing and whatnot.
It's a little bit like the stock market, except instead of huge amounts of cash, you could actually win a computer.
Yeah, that would be a very cool thing. So yeah, definitely go for that Origin PC, but we'll see. Coming this next game, I'm really interested to see what TPA is going to do, and what kind of style they might play. One concern, if they do a split pushing style with Stanley, if they don't give him someone that he can join with his team, like if they do Nidalee or something, Rengar's going to be banned. Like, there's no question there.
Oh, yeah.
But if he does like Nidalee or something, yes, in a really long game, that split push would work, but FNATIC, they're very aggressive early on in the game. Like, they just look to take objective after objective. They're constantly forcing fights, manipulating the map. And Nidalee has the movement speed to join with her team, so that's an advantage. But it's questionable whether or not she has the damage and survivability early on, particularly when Stanley likes to go for those laning builds. So he's a little tankier, but doesn't quite have that same damage.
Yep. I think we may be just about ready to get into this too. And I am still worried about TPA and their composure. They're pretty exhausted. They've been playing for quite a bit this weekend. Mostly the fault of FNATIC, because they are the ones who dropped them down to losers. And hopefully we'll see a few less mistakes come on in from Mistake.
But real quick, guys, it's 60-40 on the fan vote right now, actually 54-46. But I want to hear what the audience here is thinking, because that's a real live atmosphere. So if you think that FNATIC's going to win this game, give it a row.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what RAL means.
That's pretty good, but I remember a certain chant that I heard over at World Championships. Can you guys remind me anything? Something? TPA? 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 I don't think you remember.
So that chant was very similar to TPA's playing style, because it got off a little bit slow. It wasn't really going, but then it slowly built up and definitely carried on. So we'll see what's going to happen. I think it's probably about 50-50, and we'll see what's going on. Evelyn being banned, though, that's a disgusting pick on XPK, but he has a number of really strong champions. That's a concern with a lot of the members of FNATIC, is you're like, okay, if I ban one of them, then I'm leaving open so many other things. And Zyra is open right now.
Only champ open, yeah.
Even though Diana is open, it would be a tough pick for TPA, because then XPK, he could throw Zyra in that mid lane, and we've seen before how nice that pick is.
Yep.
Against Diana.
Yeah, the only champ to escape the bans this time around is that Zyra. It's right now TPA. They saw that Evelyn. It did way too much damage. You cannot let that happen there. So we got a few more seconds counting on down. What's going to be the first pick for TPA? I'm not sure if they know. There's the Olaf.
Yeah, and Cyanide took it in the previous game with the second pick, and Olaf is just incredibly strong, and in particular, it's incredibly strong on Stanley. So it gives him a champion that he can win his lane, he can split push a little bit, but then joining down with his team, he's going to be very strong in the early game. There's the Zyra pick, so that was kind of expected. Regardless of where they're going, they can give it on to N-rated, or they can give it on to XPK, so they have some flexibility here. I have to imagine, though, N-rated, he kind of wants to grab that Leona, but no, going with the Zyra. So they actually picked Diana and her counter and have a really strong early game team.
And also Diana, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the most contested champ this weekend.
100%. She was coming in. She was incredibly strong. We've seen a lot of people fall to that Diana pick. So some top teams that we weren't expecting. And you know, he's definitely strong. There's been so many champions. There's been such parity across the board through all the champion picks that a lot of times we're seeing champions like Diana escaping bans, and coming in it was like, how do you not ban Diana? Well, it's because there's so many other options you have to grab. But TPA going with the Caitlyn Nunu, and that is an incredibly strong bottom lane for them. It gives them a lot of flexibility right now.
And you know, we've seen Caitlyn Nunu a lot this weekend. It is an extremely strong pushing lane. We may see TPA go for a very early tower, hopefully pre-5 minute. Ooh, I wouldn't mind that. Is it okay? Everyone's begging for the lock.
We'll see if they go for it.
Well, they have the Ezreal already sealed, so that's going to be reckless.
The Ezreal is going to happen, but Rammus has been pretty weak for a long time.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been 6 months since I've seen a Rammus played.
I think Legion was like the last one.
The Cho'Gath makes a little bit more sense. So send Cho'Gath in the jungle. That's going to be a really safe lane for them, or jungle for them. It's one of Cyanide's stronger junglers.
It is his strongest jungler, actually.
Yeah.
You look at the numbers, he's actually had the biggest success and one of the most played junglers. It's just right there, top of the list. And we saw TPA with Cho last game. Didn't quite work out, and if I recall correctly, I think that may have actually been the first time Will Balls maybe was on Cho'Gath really for the past few months.
Yeah, no, it's definitely pretty strong for Lil Balls in months. I have to imagine he's been playing it a lot, even if he hasn't played it in this tournament. It was a strong pickup for him. So they won't have that option in the jungle. I'm guessing that he's going to pick up the Mundo here, but one issue with the Mundo is how much separation the rest of FNATIC's team can give them. With the Cho'Gath and with the Zyra, Mundo and Olaf, they have to rush in, and if the Cho'Gath and Zyra split off the team of TPA, they could really easily win fights off of that. So that's pretty scary for them. But Mundo would do well against Diana when Diana's trying to come in, but there's the Shen pick, so they actually might send Olaf into the jungle, and there's the Karthus. And Karthus so far, when Anivia and Orianna have been banned, has been the strongest champion for toys this weekend. So, maybe get something going there. It will actually work pretty well against Diana, but the concern is that Karthus, he's going to have a tough time shutting down Ezreal. Ezreal's just too survivable, and if Karthus is trying to get into the rest of the team, Zyra can just close that off. She throws up a snare, she ults on her team, and then they can pick off Karthus.
But it's a very transitional team, actually, looking at TPA, because you see the potential here for early objectives with the Caitlyn and the Nunu together, but you also remember, Caitlyn, one of the things, once you get into late game, is she becomes pretty much an exclusive auto attacker, so you need something on the rest of the team to make up for that, and Karthus, he's definitive great late game champ, given the proper farm and plenty of gold, which hopefully some early towers will actually give him.
Yeah, so we'll see where you can go with that. Now for the top lane, against that Shen pick, most likely, I'm assuming that they're going to send Olaf into the jungle. Soaz, he has a couple of options, but we've seen some unusual picks from him. Malphite would actually work really well with their team, but if he decides to go something like Elise, which we've seen a lot of in this tournament, Stanley's grabbed it. Jace, one of his strongest champions. Now, Jace actually, they turn into kind of a poke team. They have some nice poke.
Oh, there we go.
I think people are excited for the Kazakhs, though. He did lock in, so it's going to be a Kazakhs. And
now here's the thing.
We've seen Kazakhs pretty strong this tournament.
Now this is actually what FNATIC ran the first game against TPA in their winner's bracket match. They brought the Kazakhs in. They threw them in there in the top lane. They also had Cho'Gath in the jungle that game also. And well, let's for anyone who may not know, what does Kazakhs bring to the table here for FNATIC?
Well, it's kind of interesting because he gives really quick burst damage. Kazakhs, he has such a long range on his leap. He can pick up kills very easily. And we've seen some successful Kazakhs that they'd use it in TPA, right?
Yes.
Game one. So that really worked out well for them in that first game. So he's going to be able to dive on some of those backline champions, and their goal is going to be to pick people off quickly and then Kazakhs to jump back out of there. So if he gets going, once he gets a Brutalizer and then he goes for Bloodthirster after that, he just has so much damage. He can almost kill anyone in the game. So that's going to be a really interesting lane. I'm curious what's going to happen if Kazakhs can actually farm against Shen early on, because I would think Shen has kind of an advantage, though Kazakhs, he does have a heal.
Yes, he does have that heal. He's going to be in very close quarters. I think he should be okay. But I think the most important part here is that now Diana has a dive buddy. Diana is someone who can jump into a fight with her with that leap, which we may see. We may see if they're going to be going. We'll have to see where Kazakhs evolves into those first few levels.
The burst, they could take down Karthus very quickly in a lot of these fights, and maybe even early in the game they try and pressure that mid lane. And Soaz, we've seen him all the time. He likes roaming down from that top lane and ganking mid. So that's one of the biggest things that he likes doing. And so if he's able to do that successfully, they could really put Toys behind as that Karthus.
And this is a great unusual pick, something fantastic to see here on main stage on the final day of IPL 5. And remember, if you want to learn a little bit more about Kazakhs, because we haven't seen them a whole lot, remember championsselect.net if you want to learn a little bit about the champs, their counters, and who they win against, and things as like. And remember, we still have our iOS app too. We have the votes. Remember, you can vote during the match if you see those huge swings. You want to get in on some of that voting action.
Yeah, it will be really cool to see how that progresses throughout the game. So hopefully a lot of people get on, vote. It's going to be cool. We're looking forward to it. You get points if you continue voting and you pick the right team by the end. But
there we go.
Everyone, giving their good luck, have funs in the chat. They're all really respectful, and we'll be in this game very shortly.
Yep, FNATIC moving down all 5 members here in the mid. TPA, Bebe off on the side, Caitlyn down bot, maybe putting a few cupcakes there. Laying in wait over on the tri-brush just in case. Axes down, a little bit of vision, and those layways also coming in just in case. There's quite a bit of fireworks in that one small side brush over the river, but Toys, he's fishing for information. He needs that vision.
Yeah, and that Zyra bind, if they had been able to take out Toys, we'd seen, I think it was CLGNA versus TPA. In game 1, they had a quick bind on Toys, and we're just able to burst him down and set him really far behind. But he seems to be okay. They're going to check the lay waste here, and FNATIC, they've actually backed off. There's great ward coverage from TPA, though, coming into their bot and into that jungle. So if FNATIC decides to come in for a steal, they're going to be able to check him out. We'll see if they actually run into this Caitlyn trap, because it seems like they're going for a red steal. But if someone pops it, then that could give some vision away. There it is.
Diana just could not resist that delicious treat. Just could not do it.
It just looked so good down there, but they will back off now. And so it could have opened up an early aggression. Oh my gosh, but FNATIC, they're going to go back in.
Yep.
So a lot of times you expect teams to just leave, and they're going right back in for it. Bebe drops another trap, though. Don't walk into it, Cyanide. He was almost on top of it, and he just barely got out of there.
There is a very limited amount of vision you get when you initially drop that trap. I'm not sure if FNATIC was actually spotted in there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. They're not playing as if they had spotted him, so I'm pretty sure they didn't. And they're actually going to be giving Lil Balls his blue, so he's going to be safe up there. If they see them taking this red, then Lil Balls could maybe go in for a steal, and Bebe checking, so he's actually going to walk into the ward. They're going to take this. Cyanide actually getting the red, so it's going to be safe there. But now they know, and Lil Balls, he can react to it.
Yeah, Bebe, that time with the trap, definitely saw a shift. He's like, why is the lizard over there? They must be taking it, and goes on around the right side. And yep, Cyanide grabbing that, going to be double on back, and I think he's going to rush over to his own red. Right now, FNATIC's red is also being crazily pinged over by Lil Balls.
Went straight there.
He's going straight
there. He's only level 2, though.
This could be a very huge conflict. And right now, this is the correct move from TPA. It's like, hey, they took our red. We need to take theirs as quickly as possible. And he's getting right onto his Cyanide. As soon as he finishes the wraiths, he will notice that something is up. It's just a matter of will Soaz come down to help. The lizard is not quite at half, and you burning the ghost.
Wow.
Just to be safe.
Really scared about putting any pressure, but Lil Ball's walking into Soaz, so they saw him up on the top. They knew he ghosted, and he's ghosting right into this lane. There's the leap. Soaz going to try and get out of there, flashing away from the taunt. So he's going to escape, but his flash is down, and that's in a dangerous lane versus Shen.
Yep. So Cyanide should be able to secure the red. And just through natural progression, they know Olaf is top, should have enough time to also go down and clear the blue also. So if all things go right, Lil Ball should only be limited to the one buff.
Lil Balls is coming back up top again, though. He's sitting in that tri-bush, seeing if he can put any pressure. FNATIC kind of low. They're trying to harass down TPA some. Bebe's been returning the favor a little bit, and we'll kind of see how that lane progresses. Bebe getting pretty low. If N-Rated's able to hit a snare later on when he's away from that turret, that could be a kill.
And you know N-Rated, he wants to be aggressive. When you see Boots first on a support, they want to be aggressive. They want to make sure they can dive in, dive out, and get whatever CC they need. And that was also very indicative on the invade. You will not usually see Boots on support unless they really go aggressive. Bebe getting caught by those vines, one free Mystic shot there. And Expected going, doubling back, grabbing the Wraiths to try and help supplement the farm already getting in mid.
Yeah, and the binds from N-rated, being able to hit so many of them, it's putting TP or Bebe in a kind of tight spot because he's taking some harass. He's had to use all of his health potions. But normally, I would kind of expect Caitlyn Nunu to be able to harass down Zyra some, but she's just such a strong support. And one of the cool things with Zyra is the range. When you use the range saplings, you can actually just cause them to target champions just by clicking to attack. You don't actually even have to attack, and it's really dangerous. But there's the ignite onto Bebe. Cyanide coming down. They're trying to force this.
He got still shots down on mistake, is bound inside the brush. Cyanide gonna scream just a little bit, get those silences in. A little bit of CC, make him back off. Will Balls, he was present down here in the bot. There will be no kill here, but there were some ignites used at the very least.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised. N-rated, he used his ignite very early on without hitting the snare. So just trying to get Bebe low enough. I think the idea was to pressure Bebe off of attacking. So, you know, by using that ignite, getting him low, it prevented Bebe from feeling as comfortable. And they were trying to see if they could force something. But TPA, with the follow-up from Little Balls, they're playing very safe right now. So they didn't go in for any kills very aggressively because they don't want to threaten giving up an early kill to Ezreal.
And Little Balls still down here in the bot, looking for free damage on the Reckless. The Axe keeping him slow, but he does manage to shift out of the way. But N-rated almost ate a net to death. Nice flash, just right in the nick of time.
Yeah, that was really scary for N-rated. The quick burst, and if that Piltover Peacemaker had hit from Bebe, that would have been a kill, and that would have really helped them in that bottom lane. But we'll see how this kind of progresses. Karthus Toys, he seems to be pretty comfortable in the mid lane, but so is XPK, and XPK has an early blue, so he was able to get that blue from his team, and that's really going to be really strong for him in harassing down Karthus in that mid lane. They want to shut down Karthus and prevent him from farming. So Karthus, he's probably going to be forced into a Catalyst, which is very strong.
Yeah.
But if he's delayed on damage, that could allow FNATIC to be aggressive early on without having to worry about that ultimate.
And talking a little bit about aggression, Cyanide, when he went to buy the move 5 boots. So he wants to have a little bit more map presence. We may see him gank a little bit more often than usual. And once he gets those GP10s, you wouldn't really need to spend a whole lot of time in his own jungle. He can just continually pressure those lanes. There's that first pink ward. There's that first clear.
Yeah, so that's really important for them to keep control of that bush so that Cyanide can't get in without them recognizing, or even XPK, because XPK likes to roam a lot. He hits Toys a little bit, just wearing him back, and Toys, you can see, is kind of scared in this lane now. He has to realize that the damage from XPK is very strong. It's very quick. He does have the wall to try and slow XPK down, but it'd be tough. XPK could probably get out.
A lot of damage.
XPK goes for the race, and he actually jumps right into him. He's forced to flash out because they're pursuing him. Olaf and Karthus right on top of him.
Yeah, a little bit too aggressive. Just fall back, grab your own, for at least for the first few levels before you can take it easily. Then rated, getting chucked out way huge again, but there's the stick with the flash, followed up with a Shen ult. First blood with the Karthus ultimate, followed on up. Second one going to Stanley.
And those are the kind of early advantages that'll really help TPA in this game, because FNATIC, they're very aggressive early on, but being at a gold disadvantage, it's going to mean that they can't really put that much pressure on for a couple of minutes for TPA. So that's a huge swing in this game, guys. If you want to change your votes, go ahead. But,
it's a 2K swing. Pre-10 minutes. That is huge.
And they do control the dragon, so they're able to take that. XPK being zoned off, so he doesn't have to worry that much. Stanley's able to get over there too. So a nice 2K gold lead, really impressive play.
Yeah, I wonder if Soaz can actually take out that top tier 1. That would be the most ideal situation to try and counteract some of the gold that was earned by TPA over grabbing that dragon. And Stanley, he knows he's just taunting wherever he can. He's like, I don't care, I'm taunting the air. I just need to get back to top tier 1.
And Soaz is dropping that turret really quickly. So the pushing potential for Kha'Zix is actually kind of interesting for him to be able to drop that turret while Shen leaves. And that's always one of the strong things to do against Shen whenever he's going to teleport out of there, make him pay for it.
Yeah, it's just, you don't try and beat Shen. You try and beat other lanes and force Shen to leave. And once that ult comes up again, it may happen again. That might be a tier 2 in top going down in the next few minutes.
And Toys getting his blue, he actually is going for a Catalyst Chalice build, which we've seen him do before, and so it gives him really nice mana regen in lane. It gives him a lot of survivability as well. When he knows he's going to be threatened by that Diana, so he can hopefully just sit back and farm. But it is a defensive build. It's expecting to just have a really long farming phase. So if FNATIC puts on any early aggression, it could throw him behind. Yeah,
and while Toys is going for the defensive build, XPK, he's going pure offense. Doran's Ring and needlessly large rod.
Oh, wow.
That's pre-10 minutes. That is huge.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So I'm assuming he's going to go for a fast Zonias. That'll allow them to force fights, particularly on Karthus. He can dive onto Karthus and then Zonias, but Soaz, he actually jumps over the wall, coming down for mistake. The Arcane Shift over the Caitlyn trap, trying to take down Nunu. He's going to ult, but he's going to go down, and Soaz, that's going to give him a refresh. He's actually jumping onto Caitlyn as well, able to pick that up.
2 quick kills. Some revenge now here in the bot lane. Hey, Soaz, he can make a trip down the bot lane too. And with all that damage on Kha'Zix, they should be able to take down the bot tier 1. Lil Balls, he's here to help defend both all this wave clear here from FNATIC. He's not going to be able to do much.
Well, he's not level 6, so he has to watch out because if he's caught by a binding, they could dive on him. They get down the turret. So 2 turrets down very early on for FNATIC, and all of a sudden, that 2-kill early lead from TPA has just disappeared, and now there's a 500 gold lead for FNATIC and lots of map control.
So, yeah, so much right now. And Stanley, he's trying his best here to free farm top lane. There should be plenty of time, actually, for Soaz to return because Cyanide will be holding down the fort in top lane just for a little while. He is level 6. He's starting to get those feast stacks up, and he's moving very fast with those move 5s, and he's got his first GP10 too, so some of that income is going to start rolling in.
Yeah, it's a really nice build. It gives him a lot of map control. He gets tanky fairly early on.
And a quick oracles is possible too.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, feeling from Cyanide, because they want to put on that map presence. They already are at an advantage, but TPA, they actually have been dropping wards now, but if you look at their inventory, you see a lot of them waiting. Yep. So FNATIC knows, or at least that TPA at least has the intention of dropping a lot of wards. And Little Balls, he had an early oracles as well, and we always see that, like 10-minute mark every single game. Little Balls has his oracles. Usually Olaf is going to be safe because of his ultimate and Ghost, but he still has to watch out because if Diana catches him, she's going to be able to burst him down pretty quickly, and a loss of the oracles is always brutal.
Yeah, and Ghost, not too effective in getting out of that whirlwind of pain as a Flash normally would be.
Zyra engaging onto Bebe, though. There's the ultimate from Ezreal as well, trying to chase it down. The Arcane Shift taking them down, but Shen trying to turn it around. Enraid's forced to flash out because Stanley would have gotten them.
But this is perfect though. This is great for FNATIC. They forced out the
Shen. Out of position though. He's walking into Soaz and he's going to drop very, very quickly. If XPK gets over, he flashes into him. There's the lost oracles, and that was the biggest threat against this high burst damage team that FNATIC has. For them to lose that early, that is a massive disadvantage.
And look at the dive potential coming in for FNATIC. It's like, oh, we got a wall separating it. Too bad. I can blink on over to you. And I've got a leap. Who cares?
That actually happened. The exact same thing happened in game number 1, I believe. For FNATIC TPA, because they had the Kha'Zix pick, he came down mid, and Little Balls, he caught him out of position, and they had the burst damage to drop him with that Oracles.
Yeah, and it was perfect, because imagine what would have happened if Shen didn't use the ultimate to go down bottom. He would have been relatively close by. He could have been there to make a difference, but you know what? It's too bad. He was down bot lane, too busy helping.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Shen ultimate, with how much burst damage they have, is enough. They have so much single target burst that they should be able to eat through that Shen ultimate pretty quickly, and that's kind of scary.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing to have happen to, like in late game. You try to Shen ult someone, you try to save them, you're doing your best.
Taking the mid,
but
so 3 turrets down.
Yeah, 3 turrets, all the tier 1s now gone. XPK, he's not satisfied with the turret. He also wants to kill onto Toys. Plenty of damage, and Soaz also in the mix.
Yeah, and so XPK, he knows he doesn't want to leave himself without that Moon Rush, so he backs off. He gets the quick damage. It allows Soaz to jump in, get the reset, and then jump back out. And that is the real strength of that Kha'Zix pick. And they're still bullying their way down the mid. Heck, XPK, he actually jumps onto Bebe, trying to take him out there and forcing him back. But we'll see what kind of pressure they keep on putting on, because they are just in complete control of this map right now over TPA. And TPA, usually we see, is one of the best teams in the world at map control.
2-shot combo from XPK brought Baby down to half. And level 11, that's level 2 in that ultimate. There's so much more burst down that kit. Soaz soon will also be 11. He's going to have way more damage with his ultimate. It's looking, it's again, very early on, starting to look grim.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for TPA right now, but they have split pushing potential with Stanley. They have a couple of globals to try and get themselves back in, and more importantly, Toys, he actually just bought a Rod of Ages and hit level 11, so that's really a significant thing for him. It's going to give him some damage. He's going to be able to help control the map a little bit, and if they try and dive on him, they might kind of regret it.
So FNATIC now, all of them, starting to make their way down here to the bot river because the dragon has now just respawned. Oracles on Cyanide clears the way. There are no wars. There is no coverage. Should be a free dragon here for FNATIC to extend the gold lead even further to now a 3K lead.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to take back the map control, so I wouldn't be surprised to see FNATIC actually clear out all the wards in the jungle. Kha'Zix could actually go in for that blue potentially, bursting down Toys a little bit. But you see Cyanide, he has the Oracles, he's going to clear out the wards in the bottom jungle, and then they're going to want to ward just the entire jungle. And then that's going to allow them to pick people off, and they have great pick-off potential to try and get those kills and continue to snowball this game. So TPA, they need to keep vision of FNATIC in any way that they can.
Yeah, and TP is also still a little undecided on where they should defend. They know Reckless is down bot pushing. They know Soaz is going to be up top pushing, and you have the remaining members of FNATIC all here pressuring the mid. It's just like the laning phase is still going on.
Yeah, but the issue is with the early kills, the laning phase won't be on very much longer. But Toys, he's able to shut down that mid pretty effectively. He's still able to grab his raise, so you know, that's a pretty significant thing for him. So he's going to keep up his farm. He's going to be able to slow down the game a little bit for them, and that's really significant.
So as hanging around a little bit by the blue spawn area, we may see him go from behind tier 2 and mid. After he takes up those wolves.
He could just leap right over, kill Toys, and then leap right back out.
And that leap is so dangerous too. He's waiting for it too. He's got level 2 in the ultimate. He's got those wings. There's expected with the initiation, trying to pull Toys back. Zyra ult being used, but mission accomplished. They push TPA back. They should be able to secure that tier 2 and mid, but here comes Soaz using the stealth. Karthus ult front loading a little bit more damage, and there's Lowballs out in front with Shen. Shen will not be a factor in this fight, and there's that burst we were talking about earlier. Doesn't even matter. The Shen shield, worthless now.
Yeah, and Karthus, without being able to get a wall on the team, they don't have that long-range initiation. So Olaf just chasing him down by himself, and he goes down fairly easily, and the burst damage, it was too much for them. So I'm a little bit surprised that Toys actually lived underneath that turret, or that they tried to defend it. So they were really concerned about losing that turret. It would really lose a lot of map control, and it would mean one fight for FNATIC would result in a lost inhibitor. But Zyra, when Zyra used the ultimate, it completely zoned TPA off of that turret. So then after that, they were like, okay, some of their cooldowns are down. Let's just try and see what we can force. But they don't have the initiation, so FNATIC can just retreat very easily.
FNATIC members, they did decide to buying up a few nice things for themselves. Diana actually going for the death cap instead of the Zonias. So pure damage, recognizing, hey, burst is pretty good right now. We saw what we did earlier against that Shen shield. It was pretty good. Might as well keep continuing that, and also going for the Magic Pen boots also. And a few wards, can never hurt. Hex Drinker up on Kha'Zix. More wards being cleared out by Cyanide there in top river. So Kha'Zix, he's got the Hex Drinker, and he's got the Brutalizer. He's got plenty of sustain also in that Vamp Scepter.
Well, and you could tell by going for that Rabadon's build, some more Oracles, yeah, Cyanide, got it. Going for that Rabadon's build, it allows him to burst down Karthus very quickly, which is going to give Soaz the reset, which is what they need. They need to kill Karthus without letting him get into their team. If they kill Karthus away from their team, then that's a really good situation for them. So getting that burst, even though he won't have quite as much survivability, which is why it's a little bit surprising to see that Rabadon's, it's still going to work out very nicely.
Yeah, anyway, he's doing fine with the income. He's still even with relatively even Toys. Oh, they could. Right now, FNATIC, they are slightly split. Cho'Gath has to return back to the mid. Soaz on Kha'Zix, he's still top lane. They could actually sandwich TPA here right in the mid. Everyone right there, they're just all collapsing.
Yeah, Cyanide looking for a rupture.
There's Stanley. He is caught in those vines. Has to dash away. And there's Soaz over on the side. Shrew Shot Barrage going down. The Ult for Zyra picking up 2-3 members of TPA. Toys will be the first one to go down. And FNATIC avoiding the AoE. Here comes the Karthus ult, but not going to do a whole hell of a lot. Soaz does not care. Leaping straight on in to the turret range and leaps right on out. Ekpeke with the dash. Picking up Bebe as well. That is 4 for free from FNATIC.
They absolutely crushed TPA in that fight, and a big part of it was Soaz. If you couldn't see, he actually was coming down from the blue jungle, and he completely zoned 3 people. So he zoned Little Balls, he zoned Stanley, and he zoned Bebe. So all 3 of them, they weren't dealing any damage in that fight, and it left Karthus and Mistake off on an island. And then Soaz jumping in, he gets the quick burst after they were all very low from Ezreal and from Diana and from Zyra as well. So the AoE really sets up those snowball kills.
And if the 4 kills weren't enough, that's 2 more turrets to pile on top of that. And now the gold lead has swung even further with a few extra quarters on the side from all of those wards.
Well, it's a 7K gold lead right now. So, if you are voting, if you're trying to get up those last second points, then, you can maybe change your mind on some things here. But TPA, trying to fight back. They need to be able to get Karthus in the middle of FNATIC, and they need to be able to keep Bebe safe and constantly attacking. The issue is there's so much pressure from Kha'Zix and Diana that Bebe on Caitlyn, who Caitlyn's usually one of the safest ADs, is threatened. Reckless, he's actually going for the bot. He's going to go after Bebe. Arcane shifting after that red.
It's
One more
awarded.
Mystic shot, but Shen trying to turn it around. He backs off at the last second. So the Shen ult, it's been forced out, and that's a serious disadvantage for TPA coming up.
Yeah, and to be completely well, right now, Little Balls are getting caught. Leap from Soaz, more than enough following up the rupture from
They're
Cyanide.
threatened so much all over the map.
TPA can't even place wards right now.
And usually, I was going to say, Caitlyn is one of the safest ADs in the game, but you see in these fights, Bebe's not comfortable sitting up there and attacking because of how much burst damage FNATIC has. They can't control their front line.
So FNATIC, you got Cho'Gath up there pushing top lane, and the rest of the members are here, still applying pressure to the mid. Little Ball still has 5 more seconds before he comes back in, and the minion wave's just melting. It's just a matter of time before something gives.
Yeah, and now you see they're kind of just keeping them in their base. So this is completely preventing any farm from TPA. And there's only 3 people mid. Zyra went back to base, Cho'Gath is top, and yet they're scared to engage in these people because they have so much mobility, they can just escape or burst someone down. And so they're completely held in their base right now, and actually Soaz jumping in, trying to get Mistake along with XPK, and so they'll back off, almost getting the kill, but it's actually going to force them off of this base turret.
Yep, and
it drops so quickly.
It's going down so fast, and even I underestimate how much damage Soaz has just in the spikes alone. That was just leaped spikes, and Baby was brought down to nearly half. Mid inhibitor should fall here. TPA cannot defend this. They're way too afraid. They've been brought down too low, and they're so afraid of the assassination potential here from FNATIC.
Yeah, they know that they're just significantly weaker than FNATIC right now. They have a later game team. They aren't able to get deep enough into their builds. There's not enough damage on Karthus or anyone. And FNATIC, they just have so much burst that they can't survive through. And now FNATIC, Soaz and XPK just teaming up, zoning TPA, making sure they can't come defend this bot turret. They're just going to push this bot turret and then try and do the same thing as they did with their mid and just bully them off of that bot turret. And I'm curious if TPA is just going to be forced to force a fight that they might lose.
Meanwhile, mid Soaz, Bebe trying to keep the minions from pushing there in mid, but that pressure's more enough. XPK pulling back 3 members of TPA, but here comes Toys to help.
They're stalling them.
They are.
XPK and Soaz, they're trying to see if they can get kills, but in the meantime, FNATIC's just taking the turret, and it prevents TPA from being able to defend at all. They're just not giving TPA any options.
All of the outer turrets are now gone. Inhibitor down in the mid, and Soaz is actually still in the mid, helping the super minions push further on in. He can leap from behind a tier 3 without issue if the rest of FNATIC decides to go in for a dive, but they can. This is the safe play from FNATIC. The fact that they're in a position where they can dive.
Yeah, and there's really not an option for TPA to jump on FNATIC right now, so they're not able to get the damage that they need. Ezreal clearing the top wave so that he can get that pushing, so that they can just threaten the top turret as well, while they're slowly poking down the bot turret. They want to watch out for that Karthus while there's Stanley trying to force it, but he can't even get into him. They're just too safe. Ezreal didn't even have to arcane shift.
I think he actually taunted over into that corner of that brick wall, just couldn't quite clear that gap. And even if he did, that would have been a terrible position to be in. Cyanide with the rupture and the silence, that could have been enough. He could have been pieced out completely.
Yeah, and now FNATIC, they have a really sizable gold advantage. They want to go buy some of those items. Reckless a little bit low on mana. They're going to back off. They're all going to buy and then just force their way into the base. So all the lanes are pushing. When they get back, top lane should be pushed into the base of TPA, and they can go bot again, or maybe even force a Baron or something, and just force objectives where TPA has to fight. And one ace, that's all it takes. FNATIC is going to be able to win the game and push the Nexus.
Many members of FNATIC have decided to back on out, buy a few things nice for themselves. Cho'Gath with the Aegis BF sword on Kha'Zix.
They're trying to rush this Baron. It's one of their only options. They know that FNATIC just went back, but they actually don't have enough time on it. Karthus has a lot of damage, but they have to back off. I guess they're just checking it to make sure they're not taking it. And so they back off, and they're going to be just forced into their base again. And it's preventing them from farming. So very slowly, FNATIC is just building and building upon their lead. Yeah, and even if TPA did decide to go for the Baron or contest Baron, you still have super minions in the mid pushing. It's still going to be an issue. And by the time, even if you do get Baron, you're going to come back home and everything's going to be wrecked to pieces. Yeah, no, it's a really no-win situation for TPA right now that they find themselves in. Well, he's a big guy. He wants cupcakes. I mean, come on. Oh, he needs to keep his appetite up. But
Exactly.
So as looking for toys, he might actually go in for this. We'll see if he actually does. He actually, right after they get out of that turret, so as bursting him down, the exhaust and the wall. FNATIC, he might actually go down, but he flashes. He's going to be able to get out of there. He pops his ultimate as well.
Yep.
And so TPA, they can't engage anyone. They don't have the pick-off potential to get back in this game.
Right.
So I mean, for Soaz to be that aggressive and not go down, that's pretty devastating for TPA.
That is one of the few weaknesses of Kha'Zix, though. If you do not get the reset on the leap, if you do not get that kill, assist, or anything, that's it. You are committed to a fight. You really have few other options. He needs XPK with him as his dive buddy so they can secure those kills with that burst. But Soaz has managed to distract TPA down bot lane, clearing the rest of the team to secure the Baron for free.
Yeah, and with that Baron buff, it's going to be really dangerous. They can start tanking the turrets. TPA, they just won't have enough poke or anything to wear them down. So TPA, they really need to just hope that FNATIC makes a mistake right now and put themselves in position to capitalize on those mistakes. Getting a Karthus wall, if FNATIC, if they try and press in with some melees to attack the turrets, Karthus wall, pick up some kills, see what you can do.
And look at just how much damage the Q from Diana
They're
does
out
to
of
Little Balls
position,
right
though.
now.
Caitlyn, they made a mistake their bottom, which means they've lost their top turret. They can't even defend it. They're going to lose the inhibitor as well. So just losing their entire base without much of a fight.
Yeah, TPA knows the only thing they can logically defend right now is the Nexus. At the very least, they will have another turret there to support them. You got top inhibitor now down, and FNATIC still ravaging the base of TPA. There is still the matter of the bot turret and inhib making their way right now. Toys out in front, a few layways here and there, but it's not doing anything really. Zyra with the vines, and you may see a Karthus zoned off from the rest of the team. There is the scream to silence them. Stanley once again not getting a taunt anywhere off of that, and that is the inhib down. That is the pullback from XPK. The Zyra ult popping on all members of TPA. The feast coming on down. Mistake cannot even get to the fountain. All the members of FNATIC are well and healthy. 3 members of TPA are down. The Nexus about to fall. FNATIC has defeated the current world champions and will go on to the grand finals of IPL 5.
And that's going to be a rematch of FNATIC and World Elite, and that was a hell of a match earlier. But FNATIC seems to have TPA figured out. TPA didn't lose to anyone this entire tournament except for FNATIC.
Yep.
FNATIC 4-0'd TPA, and they were their only losses the entire tournament, which is a really impressive showing. Season 1 versus Season 2. Great sportsmanship. A lot of respect from these players.
God. These guys are
really
amazing.
Really impressive
These
play
guys
from
are
FNATIC.
amazing. You know what? Right now, Alternate's got to be kicking themselves, man.
Yeah, well, alternate, they're not FNATIC in this situation. They have a strong team in some aspects, but they've kind of been struggling recently. So for FNATIC to get that opportunity to come in here, that's fantastic for them. That's really an incredible opportunity, and they've really shown what they're capable of after a couple of disappointing performances. And it's really just the biggest surprise of this tournament. And we saw earlier today, WE versus FNATIC. FNATIC tried to make a comeback in game 2 and 3. Well, they're going to get their chance, their second chance now. It's a best of 5 with a 1-game advantage. So WE, they need to win 1 game in order to pick up or they need to win 2 games in order to pick up that victory. FNATIC, on the other hand, they need to win